Record to this computer. So, do
Yeah,
you
what's been
two?
going on?
Not a lot for me, mate. I've got a handover on a job week tomorrow, so I
Right.
mean I've been I've been setting off for work at R5 to get there for R6 and working till 7 on the night time, so I've not had much going on.
Good luck.
So I'll probably cover old stuff tonight, but obviously we use old data to try and predict future price anyway, so we'll have a bit of a gander at some old stuff, and it might help people click something in some way and something. I was just having a little gander at NZD pairs just briefly before you guys come on because everything's selling off at the minute. So, but
Okay.
I was just having a look at drawings. Are gone one sec here. Can you see my drawings on this screen, Matt?
Yeah, there's one on the left there. Oh, well, there's a path on the left,
Oh,
isn't
yeah. Yeah,
there? Yeah,
sorry,
there you
yeah.
go.
There you go, there you go. I was thinking, oh, something's going to load up in a minute, but yeah, I was way off.
Yeah, not there.
Yeah. So I was trying to sell this, obviously, June time, I guess. So I had these imbalances marked in here. I was hoping it would come a touch higher, but it seems to have not. But what my thought process was obviously the 4 hours. We're getting 4 hour bearish structures formed. Obviously, you can see the red zigzaggy stuff going on. So this sort of area here, uh, that sort of area there is the likely cause of this liquidity that's to be taken. Turn it red, turn it thicker as well. So 3 touches. Obviously, we get a huge imbalance formed here. We're on the 4 hour, so obviously it won't be one big imbalance. There'll be smaller stuff in there. As you can see, I've marked 4 in there. And obviously, it takes this major low here, which is one of my 4 hour lows that I've marked. So major, major, major low here. 4 hour break to the downside there. So obviously, a while back, I was looking for something to come back up. Obviously, show us signs to break into the downside. Obviously, I'd liked it to have really just about filled these imbalances a touch more. We're a little bit short there, which is why I left it because I was hoping it would. I was hoping it would come back and just touch one of these imbalances. I'll check what it's actually tapped into as well because it's always important. So I might have just got it wrong. I might have moved me line without realizing. But obviously, the black line is what the high has gone into. What have I
Yeah.
got as it? What have I got as that? Sorry, I'm just going to go back a sec because I don't know what that paper line is. It's just a circle I drew. So checking what it actually tapped into and if I've messed up, which I probably have. So, but it's not a major issue. Obviously, I just did catch a trade. So
Didn't cost you anything.
no, there's no loss, no major. So obviously it's tapped into Summit, whatever that is, mate. Assuming obviously I wanted it to come a touch higher, but you could argue that that filled that. Um, we'll check the 5 and the 1 as well, just to see if yeah, still a decent chunk there, but that doesn't mean it's not coming, it's not what it was targeting. So 1 second shows us nothing. Not that I wouldn't have just picked any. I wouldn't have picked that on the 1 second for certain.
Can you remember what you were looking at in April?
Uh, sort of, yeah. Like I say,
Yeah, you can see the markup and kind of remember it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I say, I remember it was this. I wanted this tapping in, but I don't think I checked it on the 1 second. But like the five and the it'd have been the 5 second that give me because obviously this is such a big candle
Yeah.
on the five. But yeah, the 1 second's not great, so I wouldn't have checked it on the one. But
You
I mean,
wouldn't assume this pair is a very busy pair.
this is a great pair. It's slower moving than
Right.
a lot of the other pairs because obviously but it seems to be clean a lot of the time as well.
Mm,
I'm probably gonna show you some examples. It's probably going to be not that clean, but
yeah.
it's it's actually a really nice pair. See, I used to when I was doing my 415-1 system, like NZD CHF, Ord CHF, Euro GBP was like three of my favorite pairs. But I mean, but price is price. Price does the same thing on all pairs. It does the same system. It does the same structure. It does the same price delivery. The only thing that will slightly change will be, like say against like a Bitcoin or a gold, the it'll move more pips quicker, and so which will maybe mean that your imbalances on your lower time frames will be slightly bigger, I guess. But we're still looking for imbalance as such. So. Um,
I would assume there's much less business through this market than the
no,
big, like a
no,
tiny fraction compared to the big ones, no?
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like I say, obviously we just had a look at them ones lower that
Mm,
I wanted I just wanted it to come like a pip or two higher. It's not
yeah.
like you can't tell me that just because it's a slightly slower moving pair that's not an imbalance. That's not an imbalance because it just is. So it's all over still. There's still big pushes everywhere. So
So these less common pairs still work okay for your really tight enterers because
yeah.
the spread will be quite a bit bigger, won't it?
No,
No?
not on my self-funded, mate. I think
Okay.
I mean, I'm going off old. I mean, I've not had like I used to trade with at a Fidative and 5%ers
Hmm.
accounts, and I think this and Euro GBP maybe used to be around about a pip at the most. So,
Hmm. Okay.
but yeah, I just had that on for spread. So, but I mean, on this occasion, I'll get to the entry in a minute. But if that had tapped in what I wanted it to, then we'll see what the entry would have been in, and then obviously I'll allow us a pip and a bit for spread for if it was about that. But I know currently at the minute my IC market spread on Euro GBP is like 0.3, so
Mhm.
it's nothing still. So
Yeah.
it'll flick up higher on the occasions, but like if I had a 2 pip stop loss, I'd just go three anyways because it's probably not going to flick above the one. It
Yeah.
flicks up to like half a pip or point 0.8 or something, so I cover it and then round it up as well. So it's not an issue. I haven't found it to be an issue anyway.
Okay, cool.
So I'm just gonna go up the time frames again. Stop the bar replay. So if that had have tapped a touch higher, I should have still been focusing on it anyway, but it was just one of them things. I thought it was going to come back higher, and I've not looked at it in a while anyway. So obviously, from if I'd have been happy that it had done its job, and then decided yes, it's broken a low, which we get here across there. 15-minute break down there because obviously we'll be zigzagging up there. And we also get, now I've not looked at any of this here. These is just trend lines that I've had from previous. Obviously, I must have marked these way after these happened because I've not looked at this properly in months. So, but obviously it's taken a low that I would want to be taken anyway, and obviously it's shown as long as that's not spread hour. On the 4 hour, I'll check that in a minute. As long as that trend line's not part of spread, it's taken of liquidity or the build up of liquidity and then it being taken is always obviously a good sign. What the fuck has gone there? So I'm back. So yeah, touch there. Three perfect touches. The sweep causes obviously the break to the downside that we would want to see. So from that point, there's probably a trade on the way up as well. So this would be the higher one it's taken. So as a general rule, like I say, if we have a trend line, the last touch, the highest point it pulls back is generally the high I'd want it to be taken. Now, it's not always the case because you might get a couple of like little swings on the way down, but as a general, obviously the last touch. So here we have a touch, pull back. The furthest point it pulls back before it takes the trend line. So I'll just extend that so you can see. Not that one. That one there. So obviously it takes it at this point here, but it continues down and then eventually it breaks this here. So mark that as a 1 minute because I imagine that's what I marked the one as. So after that point, obviously if you're thinking it's going to come back up to tag an entry from, or you're going to want it to come back up here to mitigate something out of here. So obviously this is the main, basically my 4.15.1 setup. We've broken to the downside what we want, but we're expecting price to come back up to test what would be a 15-minute zone, which I'll mark in a minute. I'll deal with that after I mark this. So we get a little tiny little break to the upside here, and then obviously we see it comes down and mitigates something here, maybe even later on. No. So there's a possibility of an entry with whatever this one tags in. We'll check it out as well just to see if it tags into anything nice. Also, you get slight equal lows here as well. I mean, we're on the 10-second, but slight equal lows there. Not great on the 10. Nice on the 15. I mean, I think that's one of the probably the main differences actually with like like I said, these are slower pairs. I pretty much look at the other major pairs like on the 10, 15. I used to spend a bit more time on the 15 with the slower pairs because I'd mainly use the 15 on GM 40 as well because that tends to be a bit slower at times. So, but once you get so low, I think because these numbers at the side are not very big, I think it makes all like these candles printed look like almost grainy. So yeah, I'd be looking on like that. I'd drop to the 10 obviously, but if I didn't see anything I liked, I'd be recommend going up a time frame to what you'd normally look at. But as we see, there's a decent push up there, there's a decent push down, there's a decent push up there. So it would have been pinpoint on that occasion if you'd have picked it. I'm sure there's probably stuff below, but again, you'd go through the time frames and discount anything that you didn't like. That's spread out, so that one I counted. Filled. Yes. And that's the low anyway. Mm. So yeah, there's a buying opportunity back up from that point, just because obviously if we're anticipating it going back up, we get the trend line, sweep, break to the upside, mitigation. I'm just going to unbar replay that, go back. So that's the opportunity to get ourselves back up. As it goes back up, obviously, right? So I 4:15:1. So I'm just going to go back because I'm going to flick from a couple of the setups. So something in here obviously is what causes this 4 hour low to be taken that we spoke about earlier on. So there's the imbalance, and generally I'd mark it something like that. I'd probably be higher up here anyway for me 4 hour. That's that. Price comes in, effectively fills an imbalance, breaks 15-minute low. So from that point there, I'd be marking same again because obviously I always wait for the lows to be taken because obviously the 4 hour is bullet bearish, sorry. Obviously bearish structures. Yeah. Always wait for the 15-minute break on that because price could just react out of something and then plow through. It'd be a silly loss because we don't know what it's going to do from here because obviously leading up to the point of interest, we are bullish structures, which I've got some on my screen from before. So we're making higher lows, higher highs. There's nothing to say that price wouldn't come back and just continue long and take us out basically. So um, this is why I always wait for like candle lows and structure lows things to be taken because it's a good signal that obviously before that, well, up all of this, the 4 hour is still bearish, but this is a pullback because the 15 minutes trending upwards. So once it hits our area of interest, obviously this is for big moves, so it takes a lot of patience because this takes months to play out overall, I guess. So this is why we wait because we want the 15-minute to then 4 hours bearish. 50, here the 15-minute is bullish up until it takes this low, and then obviously that's the sign that it's turned bearish again. So after that, I'm just going to play some candles. Oh, where's map me zone actually? Dinner after that break. Play. There, it breaks low there. So I only draw my boxes for this when the lows have been taken. So basically, what I'm trying to mark, what I would then mark from this point would be. Now I don't mark this up regularly anymore, so I might be slightly off here. But I generally mark it from the wick high to the start of imbalance there, and then mark the orange zone. It might come into this. I haven't checked, but this is why I started checking slightly lower time frames because I was yeah, it's decent imbalance here, so it might actually come for that one. But could probably that one there anyway. Yeah, I think yeah, it's going to come for that trend line that it makes afterwards anyway. So we've just shown it, obviously, just shown the buy opportunity back up after it's broken the 15. So from there, we see it. Obviously, it does its thing. It takes time to get up there, but we can see obviously with this blue line, it starts to well, it does. It creates liquidity again. So all this price action that it's doing at the minute is effectively, obviously we broke 15 to the downside, so we're bearish. 4 hours bearish, 15's bearish, but we are 1 minute. Obviously, because we're broken 1 minute to the upside, the 1 minute's currently bullish. So we would then, obviously, this is why I've got this system. So once it hits his orange box, if we get a 1 minute break to the downside, then effectively we are multiple time frames lined up. So the 4, 15, and 1 would all have shown bullish, no, sorry, bearish intent. Let's call it intent. So at that point, obviously we've created liquidity. It's still within my 15-minute zone here. So as soon as it takes that, obviously I'm assuming it's going to maybe fill this imbalance here. Yeah, taps that. So from this point here, I would have been basically following, I'd have been setting alerts at these highs and lows and following it as it goes. So I'm going to go back a couple of candles. So as you can see here, obviously if there's any questions, guys, fire away. I'm just talking. So we have this structure going on up to the zone. Yeah. 1 minute, I'll change it green. Yep, so we get, obviously I said the 1 minute's still bullish at this point because it's making high lows, high highs. As we can see, I've obviously just drawn on the last couple of swings. Swing, swing, yeah. So from there, it's taken liquidity that it's built up. It's filled in imbalance that I've obviously marked, and it's then broken to the downside on the 1 minute. So just there, 1 minute breaks there. So I'm just going to change time frame just to show you again on the zoomed out picture. So like I say, the 4 hour is bearish, obviously lower highs, lower lows. Prices come up to the point of interest that caused the previous low to be taken. The 15-minute then turns bearish. Prices come back up, and now it's shown that the 1 minute's possibly turned bearish. It's taken liquidity, it's filled imbalance. So the anticipation would then be that if we can pick an entry, is that we would at least want to target something low down in this 4 hour leg. The overall aim would be to take the low, but I mean it's a big hold as well. It's obviously it's doable. I don't know if it's done it or not. I can't remember, but obviously the safest option would be somewhere in here because it might. Obviously, the from this point as well is if we go back to the obviously the 1 minute's going to do its thing. We're going to get little structures forming, just going to do its thing. But we're going to get 15-minute structures formed as well. So if we get the entry right, I would expect that it's going to take. This is the new 15-minute low here, just to the right of this break structure line, because obviously it takes the low. So I would expect price is going to come and take this low, and then it's probably going to pull back, then it's going to retake that low, and obviously the 15 minutes going to do its like few structure swings, and then obviously inside that there'll be 1 minute structures. So yeah, we we could obviously this, like as I said, the safe option would be to set a TP before the 4 hour lows taken. On the bottom there. You know. But like I say, the safer option is before it because it might mitigate something here and then decide to take the high or come for somewhat higher. But that would come down to like the actual fundamentals of the market, I think. But like I say, we are at this point we are all time frames bearish. So I do think overall low. So back to the 1 minute and entry. So we get the 1 minute breaks there. So we'll come and find an entry. So I generally sort of try and start and mark me major areas on the 5 minute. So, and then we start to see something happening on the five. I'll refine it down beyond the five. Uh, so I'm gonna leave that green, but that'll get reduced when I get down the time frames. So me first, the first areas I want to look at are these two, maybe this one here as well, just above. So they're the main areas I want to check. And I'm just going to bar replay closer because I wouldn't want to take anything below this now anyway because there's good looking zones higher. So anything taking an entry below any of this, I would consider very, very risky now. So from that, I'll just drop down to like, let's say the 10 second and just see what we get. So we have an all right little push from here. Maybe the 10's a little bit low, like we said earlier. So decent push from there. Possibly something up here. I'm going to separate that into two zones because I'd be fairly happy to either. I mean, if this is the area, then I'd be happy to set two pendings and split the risk. Didn't want to move that. Not too happy with anything in here. Nothing looks great in there either. This is the high, so there's maybe something there which I'm just going to piss off. So let's drop down again, see if we can eliminate some of this. That one's still the same. Still happy with that one. Go away. Leave it as it is. I don't like anything in this one. There's nothing in there for me, I don't think. So I'd happily delete that one. It'd be nice, but that one's been filled by this. So that's filled. And I think that's shite as well. So I'm not too bothered by that. Let's check the five, see what's going on. Fairly happy with that still. Not keen with that one. Don't think that's any good. But we also maybe have that there. Got a decent push here, but I'll check it on the 1 second in a minute. I'll just check up here. It's filled. Not bothered by that. Again, that's the high. So yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. Not too happy with this, but I'm gonna leave it on the screen in case I'm wrong, but turn it blue. So I'd definitely stick my money here on this. This would be where I stick my. I'd be well happy to stick my money on there. Six pipettes. I mean, you could be gay and cover both of them. Be happy at 2 pips on that with that being such a small entry. But I think this is the entry. So we shall see. Uh, what box is that small? I can't even see the thing. I said the target would have been way down there. If there's any questions on that, guys, please chip in and ask away. Set it to there. Big imbalance in here. That seems fairly safe. Can we reach 90R? Um, delete that because I was just guessing. Extend. Right, so let's see. Let's see. Play. Play. Not quite. Close, but not quite. Let's see. Come back. Is that the one? So I'll get to your minute question in a sec, Peter, mate. One sec. So I'll turn that off, see what find out if it hits or not without waiting. Nah, so it didn't tag in the entry zone. TP was fine now. It's gone way beyond that. It's close. Oh, yeah, it's taken the 4 hour low. Yeah, so and there's been no real breaks to the upside on that trending down as well. So I mean, that's a fucking massive trade. But it's short, so it don't really matter. But as as far as I can see, it's a valid trade. It's just shy, just short of. But the process is bang on, so that's the that's the important part. I'll just measure this and then I'll get to your question, Peter, mate. Oh, it's close. It's close. 4 pipettes shy. Um, is what it is, isn't it? All right, get us that question. For your TP, how much of the imbalance do you aim for? 75%. Uh, no, mate. So obviously, I don't know how much of that you heard, but obviously on the actual TP that I would have actually aimed for would have likely been the 4 hour structure low. I think you joined after I'd covered the 4 hour structure. So as you can see from here, so there's a high, low. I think that probably takes a high. Yeah, it's 4 hour. I can't even fit more on the screen, but there's a low, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high. So we are trending downwards majorly on the 4 hour. Um, as you can see, this yeah, it's definitely heading down. It's been doing it for since 21, so 4 years it's been downtrending. um, so yeah, what that trade basically made, what I covered is obviously because it's 4 hour structure, the target was a new 4 hour low. So obviously I just so basically all I'd done, mate, is the point of interest was the cause of the previous low being taken. So obviously prices has come back for it's come back to this area for a reason because this caused that low to be being taken. It's come back and then it's shown the 15 minute turned bearish and then it come back again and the 1 minute turned bearish. So but this is why I had this zone marked is purely because it's done something. It took this liquidity, it took the low, which is also liquidity. It left big imbalance for it to come back for. And like I say, then after that, it's given signs to turn. Because from all of, let me just turn the magnet off. So all of this price action there that I've just highlighted is 50, yeah, it's basically bullish price action, but on the 15. So it's up here, it's trending upwards. It gives us a 15-minute break with this bit here. I'll zoom in so you can see it a bit better. So breaks this low here. Obviously, this low puts in the high, breaks it to the 15. So that's confirmation that 15 minutes turn bearish in line with the 4 hour. But because we've broken an external structure, price wants to come back, fill an imbalance, which is this yellow line here. And then it does exactly the same thing on a lower time frame. So this draw a line. No, because I deleted it off. So 15-minute turns bearish here, comes back. This is where the 1 minute turns bearish as well. So then obviously I was just anticipating that it would fill an imbalance. It was just shy on this occasion, but it's that's the feed we get. It might be there might have been a different feed where it was bang on. It's but we're talking like it was less than half a pip. And obviously I've just done that. Not obviously it's bar replay, but I've marked that up from nothing. So you hopefully you'll understand the process of why I was marking it and doing. But yeah, this is the point where after this high is made, and obviously the 15 minutes bearish, the 1 minute's turn bearish, price hopefully would have no need to come back above the not the highest imbalance because that's not right, but the the highest important imbalance, which obviously I thought was that one. It was just a touch short, and then obviously it's come on and made a new 4 hour low because obviously 15-minute trending upwards. As soon as it breaks the 15-minute low, that's that's a possible end of the 4 hour pullback because the 15 minutes makes up the 4 hour legs. So all this downtrending here, these little structures going on, these little zigzags, they are what I would consider 15 because the 15-minute makes up the four. So all this is downtrending 15 for me. Obviously, we get like a little low and a high tighter in here. So we get a low put in, a high, new low, and then we get a decent break to the upside with this candle here. So that's the first signal of the 4 hour pullback for me when this candle breaks above this one here. So yeah, I wouldn't target. Obviously, I did say about target a safer option would be the imbalance before the low's taken, but with everything lining up, mate, it was the I was anticipating a 4 hour low. Obviously, this is an old setup, and I couldn't remember if it had broken it or not, but didn't really look that far. But yeah, there would have been safer options for it to, like I say, to target something in here, but it was a 4 hour low structure target, so there was no imbalance to be that I was actually targeting. So hopefully that answers your question, mate. It was a long answer, but yeah, it would have been nice for a 183 hour. Would have been juicy. Are there any questions on that? No? Okay.
Sorry, missed the last 15 minutes, Lee. I've just on the kid.
Yeah, it's all good, mate.
Can you do it all again, please?
Yeah. I'll tell you, you can watch it back in about an hour, mate. It's probably best. Um, yeah, I mean, that's Euro NZ, no, it's NZD CHF. Um, so obviously in that we covered a couple of different setups, obviously. So obviously we highlighted that there's a trend line here. So obviously I know everyone's not going to trade the same, and no one's really trading this 4.15 thing that obviously George does trade. I think he's about the only one, to be honest, because I think you've got to be patient for it. So you've got to be it's a long game, but I mean it's an incredible system, and obviously I try and take the smaller trades as well nowadays. So obviously when we're highlighting that there's possible trade from here because we get a build up liquidity, obviously with 15-minute trending upwards bullish, so we get a sweep, we get a break above this candle here, and then we likely get a mitigation here. So there's an entry in there. We can get, like I said, I don't expect us all to trade exactly the same, but what I suppose what I'm trying to get across is that it doesn't matter what you trade, and if you if you have this whole setup that I've just covered, or you can cover this sort of setup, but it's important to obviously have in mind of where price is within obviously the higher time frame structures and things. So, you know, obviously if we covered this one first of all, I think this was the first one we covered, the buy back up sort of thing. So because I'd sort of obviously I said that this is a point of interest that I was looking to sell from for a new 4 hour low. But so if you'd have caught this buy up there, I wouldn't anticipate or be brave enough to go, I'm holding that beyond this high there. Obviously, it could have. There's no, if price wasn't at that point, price was there and we didn't know it's done all this, then there's no reason why. No, I think that's wrong because yeah, we got a 15-minute break to the downside. So yeah, so because 15-minute turns bearish there, obviously if we'd caught this, obviously trend line sweep break to the upside here, the obviously it's only a 1 minute break, so the weakest of breaks to the upside. So if you'd have caught that trade off this little green box we marked, obviously it does go up, it comes and fills that imbalance in here. I wouldn't because I know where the higher time frame is. Obviously, I know that the 15 minutes turn bearish. I know the 4 hours still bearish. It's reacting from a point of interest that I think and has given that's got good reasons for why it might hold before it then goes and makes a new low, 4 hour low. Like did I would never be taking this buy here and then going, I'm going to hold it beyond well an imbalance in here, obviously, because I've got the one mark that it taps into and then reacts and then reverses from. So yeah, whether you do the whole thing or just like these trend line build ups, sweeps, mini 1 minute breaks to the direction that you want it to trade to, still think it's beneficial to know overall where things might be going. So I'd say that's majorly important. And as long as you're consistent, so I'm a big believer in if you as long as you're trading the same way day in day out, uh, there's I mean, you can't expect consistent results. I don't think if unless you come into the market consistently. So trading the same system, following the same rules, doing the same things. Obviously, if you turn up, you trade in this, say it's just I'll just say supply and demand, whether that's the bigger stuff or the smaller stuff, whichever it is. But then if you come in and you start trading, let's say simple strategy, for example, like you can't expect consistency in your returns because let's say you took if you've had a funded or you're on a challenge or anything like that. But if you're trading two strategies, you might take five losses on both strategies and then you've blown an account. But if let's say the supply, if your data shows that you don't have more than 10 losses in a row, then you're never really going to blow an account unless you mess up yourself, but the system as such shouldn't allow for that 10 losses to blow a funded or evaluation account. So yeah, it's always come to the market and do the same thing. And obviously you can build what your rules are from looking at old data. So obviously what we've just covered is old data. Obviously good price is down here, way down here. But the process, we learn and build the process and the rules from old data. So this this 415 one, obviously we just covered it. The same. I can show you dozens of examples of the same setup. I hope. I know there's a few on oil from old. So I posted a couple of these in the week. So 4 hour point of interest that causes major low to be taken. A couple of lows here, there. Point of interest, 15-minute break after it taps into it. Go away. Price comes back up to zone, does a 1 minute break. See a little green line there. 1 minute break there. Comes back, mitigates, sells off. Yeah. So this setup and the rules is exactly the same for the one we just covered and played out. There's the other ones as well. Where are they? Might have deleted the drawings actually. Oh yeah, we here. So I've deleted the drawings, but I'm roughly drawing this at the minute. So 4 hour point of interest. So from imbalance there made imbalance, 4 hour imbalance, wick low, thereabouts. Price taps it. Obviously, this point of interest takes this major high there, so reason for 4 hour red zone on my occasion. Price comes back, breaks above the 15 here, breaks above the 15, comes back, eventually does a 1 minute. Yeah, same process again and again. Whether you trade that or not, obviously, is up to you guys. You'll do your own thing, but you've got to come and do the same thing day in, day out, follow the same rules. So find more. NZD CAD is a good one. 4 hour point of interest causes a major low to be taken. 4 hour comes back, mitigates, breaks the 15-minute low, or one of these maybe, breaks the 15-minute again, comes back, mitigates something. We get another break to the downside for the 1 minute. Obviously, 1 minute will be up here, comes back. Again, it was just shy. This might have been the same time as what NZD CHF does, but like, yeah, the important thing is it's the same process. So if it is this way you trade or a different way, at least if you're going to follow the same, you're going to get consistent results. You're not going to get any anomalies. You're not going to get, you shouldn't blow accounts if your system shows that you shouldn't take so many losses in a row, or obviously you can take so many losses in a row, but you would account for that in your risk percentage. So if your system shows that you get 10 loses in a row, if your funded account only gives you 10%, you would say don't risk 10% because then you can blow an account, is my advice. Maybe do like zero point 0.8 or something, so you've always got that 11th trade to get you back. Um, but yeah, that's about it, guys, unless there's any questions, because I'm just waffling on.
Can you just explain that for our point of interest again, please, Lee?
Yep.
How do you know that's the one that may takes the break? You pick
Well,
box, yeah?
yeah, so there's the good thing about my 4 15 and 1 system, mate, is because I mean it's so slow from start to finish. So the important part is I might not have had this marked. I,
Mm,
I actually I marked this up dead late. I think I marked this up around April time, I think it was. So I think I marked
okay.
that. So,
So
but
you're working
what
backwards a bit, yeah?
yeah, you have the time to obviously you can miss the point of interest. You get months to actually mark it. But what's often important is so obviously because working with the 4 hours important. It could be. I'll mark a load of these zones up, mate, and you can just to give you a bit of an example, right? So I'll mark 3 or 4.
Right.
So price hits this one, yeah, but it doesn't break a
Yeah.
15-minute low. It continues the 15-minute structure. So
Right.
because it doesn't break the 15, I'm not trading from it. So it don't matter, and then it eventually breaks it. So then that gets deleted. Price taps this one, don't break a low again, eventually takes it out. So you could mark any of these. Like it might I mean, I'm assuming that's pretty much gone now. Obviously,
Right.
it's,
So you're
but
not really marking them up as they develop, you're marking them up towards the end of the process,
yeah,
working backwards. Yeah.
yeah, sort of,
Yeah, I
yeah,
wondered that a bit. Yeah, I did that. I did surprise me a bit whether you were like running potential markups. Like that was from November, so that's nearly
yeah,
9, 10 months. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
it
So
makes a
yeah,
bit more sense.
yeah. So, and I mean, that's one of the reasons why I only mark me boxes as well when once the obviously here this one when it broke below this. I mean, I think I've got that as a 15-minute mark as a low, and it also breaks the 4 hour low as well
Yeah,
before it even comes back. So I wouldn't have drawn this box. I don't know when I drew it, but if I was watching it live,
yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't have even considered drawing that box until it broke till this candle here, basically, till it comes below
Yeah,
there. So yeah, because that's the confirmation. There's no point in drawing this until it's broken because I'm just going to confuse myself. And obviously that's why I made the colours that I did was to so I could open a chat and know where I was at. But then if I start drawing boxes that haven't done what they needed to do,
yeah.
then there's no
I
point in
understand.
there's no point in color coding anything because yeah. So yeah, it's
So a lot of the skill here, you have to pick a chart, a clean chart, and read it backwards, basically.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I
So
mean,
really, probably what you enjoy to do is waiting for the 1 minute break for confirmation rather than
yeah,
waiting from November. Yeah.
yeah. No, no. I mean, I'll see if I can find a chart I haven't really looked at in a long time, which could be any to be fair, but see this here,
Hmm. Yeah.
like like if I didn't have that now, right, I could just go right. This has made a new high, but it's taken a low again. Like the red box is sort of irrelevant early on.
Hmm.
It
Because
sort of
you,
it
because you've
just
got no
get
idea what's going to happen.
yeah, but I can see that it's made a new high from there, and then it's taken a low. So
Yeah.
now I'm at the stage where I'm thinking, right, if that comes, obviously I'm going to mark my 15-minute box because I know it's done the 15-minute break. Where's the red box? Where's it gone? Bear with me a second, I'm lost now. Oh, sorry, bear with me a sec. There you go. Yeah, there. Just got to bar replay it. Am I being stupid? I mean, red box keeps disappearing. I
It
think
might just
there's,
need a bit of time to redraw, or
yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, and anyway, this is, I think this is what taps into the red box anyway. It'll come back in a
okay.
bit. Yeah. So from that point, and I know I can see it's broken the 15 to the downside over here. So I've bar replayed it. So at this point, I can come to the train and go, right, this is my orange box somewhere in this. So possibly from here. Obviously I'd mark it from to the high, but I think because it's such a big zone, I would actually then drop to the uh I'd probably look through all this on the seconds charts and find the better imbalances because obviously that's what I started doing later on after I created this strategy. So obviously I started pinpointing entries and then I started to figure like, well, I can pinpoint where I can pinpoint the imbalance that's going to be filled before that I want price to hit before it say breaks, then tends to do the 15-minute break structure or the 1 minute, so like it's the same thing as we look for when we find an entry. I'd then look for that in this zone and go, all right, I think price is going to hit this zone. Obviously take some liquidity, then break the 1 minute zone when it comes back in a few days or whatever, if it's going to come back. Um, so yeah, like this, let's just replay that. Yeah, so yeah, if I mean if price it might be a touch lower than that to be fair. Price might come down to this imbalance here. But yeah, if price comes into this zone here and gives a decent 1 minute breaker structure off a decent imbalance, then
Mhm.
yeah. So there's a possible setup. I mean, it was Sunday at the minute. It might take a couple of days to get back up here, but I've got a cut. We've got a set up possibly towards maybe the back end of this week, just from
Mhm.
having a quick look at this. And I hadn't had to wait for this zone to be tapped and this because I've just had a quick flick through, picked a random chart and gone, yeah, I can see this. It's broken a low. And I'm happy that that's tapped into that. That's the high of something, you know. But we are like, I mean, this is an absolute mess structure wise, but I think we are bullish, but. So we've had a thingy there for our point of interest. So took this high, has come back with broken highs. Price has gone away. So this might actually be a great opportunity to get a sell. Obviously, if we get a 1 minute break after that, so if it does something like that, we might actually get a sell into like a buy from somewhere down here. Because obviously we've got point of interest here. They've read there'll be I'll have to redraw this, but um 1 minute 15. Oh yeah, that might actually be this might have played out. I'd have to check all these imbalances, but obviously the 15-minute break to upsides here, we mitigate something in imbalance, possibly 1 minute break here, so close above that. Looks like it's just shy of an imbalance, but let's check it out. Can you see? Sorry, bear with me a sec. Can you see obviously that it's come down Obviously, it's
Yeah.
tapped into something. I think it's taken liquidity maybe as well. Not the best, but that might be a different trend. There might be a different trend line in there anyway. But yeah, it's swept some form of liquidity, tapped into some. It's broken above this high here. This low here is possibly what we should have been tagging into an entry. Just let me. So that's the 1 minute break there. I didn't want to do that one. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't have got the right entry anyway, but you could argue that the imbalance is there actually. So just shy of filling that. But I mean, a second's a long time sometimes for imbalance. People think it's
Yeah.
quick, but in reality, it's not. A
Uh,
lot, a lot can happen in that second. But as you can see, there's a decent push from there. So if I'd have had that marked previously, like I said, I think I'd have been.
there's a graph in what's that book called? Flash Boys, yeah, which
Yeah,
is about high frequency trading,
yeah,
and it's a graph of the activity in 1 second,
yeah,
and it's it's one blip in 1,000th of the second.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And actually, if you look at the second itself, almost all of the second, nothing is happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's obviously I didn't have it, but that's another setup there, and obviously it's going up. So yeah, there's no rush to mark the zones up, but yeah, and then obviously again, like I say, there's other setups, the smaller stuff that happens around that as well. So
Someone who's, I haven't really got the gist of what we do. I've been trying a few months. What do you think's the thing that people should look at first?
the what? Sorry.
Is trend line sweeps a good place to start if
Um.
someone wants to, or just trading structure or what?
So well,
There's almost too much. I get phased by
yeah.
too
So
much.
I mean, I think structure is king.
Yeah,
Um. So yeah, because like if obviously I mentioned like liquidity in that sort of thing as we was going through it, but I could have done it. I can do that without liquidity, but
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it without structure. So structures generally first for me. So also
I was
I'll go back to NZD CHF because it's a clean 4 hour structure. Um,
probably what I was going to do was find 15-minute lows,
yeah,
um, that then do a change of character and try and trade that. I was trying to break it down a bit and simplify it into one thing I could look for.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, structure's the important part. Um, no. Yeah, structure's the most important. Like I say, you can do it without liquidity, but not without structure. And
Yeah.
obviously, that's and I would back that up with the just use waiting for the 1 minute change of character or break structure, whatever you want to call it. Like that's proof enough for me, do you know, because we're waiting
Hmm.
for that confirmation. So, um, yeah, so that's obviously the new 4 hour low that's put in. Obviously, this will continue. I'm assuming this might continue down a bit further, but yeah, obviously it's taken the low, so that confirms that this is the 4 hour lower high. um, on there. But obviously it'll do its thing. But I mean, if we so from here, I mean we're a bit off, but so obviously as I said, price will trend down here on the 15 minute. I'll just turn the magnet off. So obviously 15 minute high, 15 minute low, 15 minute high, break to the downside. So a new high, new low, new high. I'm just going to come down here. New low, new high, new low, new high, new low. So from, I was going to change that the right color. So from here, what I would be thinking is, right, so if price comes up to here, into this top area here, I'll mark it 15 minutes
Hmm.
out. So if price comes into here and then it gives us a good 1 minute break to the downside, then chances are we're going to make a new 15 minute low.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, obviously you would want to obviously we'd want to double check that there's nothing major above that because it could obviously trick us. It could do a change of character on the 1 minute. So I'm just going to draw the 1 minute thing, the little ziggy zaggy thing. So if it does that, chances are we're going to make a new 15 minute low, as long as there's nothing further above that we won't want to get caught out by. If it comes up and trends up on the 1 minute, so it doesn't break the 1 minute, breaks to the high. Yeah. So if we take that high with a 1 minute, this 1 minute structure obviously trends up. Then what I would be looking for is that obviously I'd flip it on the head. So then at that point I'd be going, right, something in here. I'd be wanting to see that little zigzag on the 1 minute that we had a minute ago play out from down here. So if we did that in this somewhere in this low, then I'd be
Yeah.
thinking, I'd be thinking, right, with 15 minute because the 15 minute turn in the direction. I suppose the best way I could sort of explain this really quickly is 4 hour is what we want for our overall direction. 15 minute is the 15 minute break is the uh point sort of a point of interest as such. Obviously, so if this breaks even one way or if obviously it's 15 minute trending downwards at the minute, so this is the sort of rough area that I would look to sell from, as long as we get the 1 minute confirmation. So yeah, the 15 minutes like the point of interest, the 1 minute's the final confirmation for entry, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably the best way I can
It's pretty good. Yeah.
describe it, I think. So
Direction, point of interest, and entry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll think about that, and if I can word that a bit better and make it more really understandable. But I do think 4 hour for direction, 15 minute for point of interest, 1 minute final confirmation and entry.
Yeah.
That's off the top of my head. That's what I think I'm going to say. So, but yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, this just the 15 minute structure is like I say because it's the point of the point of interest. So this is the determining factor, and then the 1 minute's like the green light basically. But like I said, these are we've just covered the two options from these. Obviously, that might not be exact, but obviously I did it roughly. But
Yeah. We
yeah,
can come
but
back
yeah,
in a few days and look at it, can't we?
yeah, yeah. I mean, if we might, I mean, it would be ideal if we get say equal lows created from somewhere like that. If we get equal lows created there, little pullback, sweep of the equal highs. Oh, sorry, I said equal lows. I meant equal highs. That'd be ideal. So we get a little pullback, sweep into there'll be an imbalance in here maybe. Obviously, then a little 1 minute break. If that's the case, then this is what I'd be looking for. Um, so there'd be an entry possibly there or something like that.
Yeah.
to make a new 15-minute low. But obviously, this is why I'm always thinking about multiple time frame structures. So we, because of where price is now, we could at any point pull back on the 4 hour. So this is why I would say wait for this 15-minute high to be taken if you're going to buy,
Hmm. Yeah.
because yeah, as soon as it crosses this point here, like it could turn at
It's
any point.
bearish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's currently bearish, but it could.
Mhm.
I mean, the 4 hours, the 4 hours bearish until it takes this high up here, but it could pull
Yeah.
back. It could pull back at any point. And
Yeah.
what will confirm us is when it takes a 15-minute high.
Yeah. I got it.
So
Makes
it's
sense.
always the structure, the time frame of the structure we are on. The time frame below that will be the early signal that it's
Yeah.
either reversing or starting a pullback sort of thing, if that makes sense.
It's quite a neat structure, that, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, the 4 hours as clean as anything you can see, mate. It's
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to come back to this one because it's not
Yeah.
always this clean, but this is just a clean 4 hour downtrend. So if uh, I think let me have a think about which one it was. There was one it might be Euro CHF or Euro NZD. There's one that gives a real clean um break in a reverse, basically a reversal rather than a continuation structure. Yeah, I think it's this one here. So we get a good 4 hour structure here. So obviously we make a lower
Hmm.
high, lower low, and then we break it on the 4 hour. And then obviously from inside that, obviously it's come back, mitigate the point of interest on the 4 hour, the lowest, broken on the 15 to the upside, come back, mitigated it on the mitigated something, done a 1 minute break, you know. So this, well, I don't know where it's at now, but it's come back pretty hard. But yeah, I mean, if this is I'm trying to get, there's a lot of price action there, but obviously prices come from this high, made a low on the 15, broken the 15-minute high. So if I can draw the structure on this, I mean, it's a lot of price action. So forgive me if it's bad. But basically, it's made a new high. I'll change its color in a minute. It's pulled back. It's made a just about made a new high. I think that might be equal highs. So it's pulled back. If I'm right, that might be the 15-minute structure. So obviously, like I say, low, high now because of break, higher, low, possible higher, I think, or equal highs. So yeah, possible buys from somewhere on this is a real
Hmm.
opportunity as well. But again, we want to wait for the 1 minute to signal us. Yeah, it's not taking it. That's the high that puts in the low here. So 1 minute down was 1 minute bearish at the minute, but if price takes that at the minute, it's just created equal highs, so it might do it on its next. It might mitigate something in here, and then do it. If it does take that, it'll come back and mitigate something in here. So yeah, that's yeah, 4 hour for direction, 15-minute point of interest. So 15-minute here obviously gets mitigated. 1 minute breaks to the upside, comes back mitigates something, and
Sure.
that's six. That's just nearly enough a 60-fold trade, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. I'm gonna call it there because I think my missus is getting stressful a little, and so I can hear her.
Loads. Thanks a lot, Pete.
No worries,
Thanks a
guys.
lot, Lee. Appreciate it.
No worries, guys. I'll get that uploaded tonight, and I'll speak to you in the group, guys.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Cheers and kill.